Happy New Year. I'm excited about the new year. I love the new year. I love going into January. It's one of my favorite times of the year. I don't know how many of you are New Year's fans. And so whether you're going into a new year or whether you're heading into a new time of your life, you're wanting to make some new changes, I'm a big fan of resolutions. I love the whole vision board and writing out your goals and writing out the things you want to do. How many like to do that? Okay, most people in here. I love to do that. I'm a big fan. But I've noticed in the last few years something strange. There's a backlash to setting New Year's resolutions. How many of you have noticed or talked to somebody who has said, you know what, my New Year's resolution this year is to set no New Year's resolutions? How many of you know somebody like that? And people get frustrated because there are things that you want in life and you just don't get them. And whether it's you want to reconnect in a relationship, whether you want to pay off debt, make some money, or whether you want to get your health in order, whatever it is, there are just obstacles that seem to stop people, and it's so frustrating. So people, instead of getting their hopes up and setting New Year's resolutions and joining that gym maybe on January 1st and having the gym be empty by February 1st, or February 15th, or January 15th, whether that's the case or not, people are getting frustrated. Why is that? Well, I have an idea. My theory is this, that too many people try to bring the last year's version of themselves into the new year. If you try to bring last year's version of yourself with just hope into the new year, you may be in for a disappointment. Because this year is going to require new things for you. Whether it's this year or when you're watching this in August, maybe there's something that in the new path ahead that you're going to pave, you're going to have to do something different than what you've been doing before, right? You know, common sense. We all know that. But it's harder to do lots of times. So what I propose is this. You reinvent yourself. Now, what is reinvention? When I first started talking about the subject of reinvention, I would ask people, when I say this word, I want you to tell me the first thing you think about. And when I said reinvention, what do you think the first thing that came to people's minds is? Madonna. People would always say Madonna, and I don't know why. I suppose it's because whether you like Madonna or not, she's somebody that constantly reinvents her image. Now you have people like Lady Gaga doing similar things. But Madonna, how many of you remember Madonna in like the frilly lace and the holiday Material Girl era? Then we were aghast because she came out with her next look and it was this cone bra. How many saw the cone bra of Madonna? Then, a few years later, she came out with this Indian spirituality, Ray of Light era, and now she's doing dance music. So whether you like her or not, Madonna is somebody who constantly reinvents herself. I'm personally a U2 fan. So U2 has constantly reinvented themselves. Bands like the Beatles, all great artists that we love, constantly reinvent themselves. So, what do you do for you? How do you reinvent yourself for you for a new year? Well, there's two ways to do it. You can do it from the outside in, or you can do it from the inside out. The outside in would be this. How many of you have ever gone into get your hair done, or bought a new outfit, or you bought some new shoes, and for just a moment, you felt a little different? You felt better about yourself. You walked out with a little more confidence. You can reinvent from the outside in, but you have to keep that nuance going. Reinventing from the inside out is equally powerful. And that's where a lot of the blocks come for people. It's easy to tell someone, go get your hair cut, get a new image, get a new look for yourself. But really, reinventing from the inside out is not a lot of things, or not something that people think about a lot. So how do you reinvent from the inside out? Well, first you have to know what you want to reinvent. So what I found out from traveling around and talking to people about this subject and finding out where the blocks come from, I found there's about 5 major blocks, what I call patterns that run in the system that we carry from year to year in this big heavy knapsack like big rocks. And these patterns, we carry them and we put our vision boards up, we write our goals, we do all kinds of things, but we're carrying around this bag of rocks, so to speak, that are patterns. And here are the 5. Are you ready? Here are the 5. The ones that I find are the most common with people. Number 1, I call it the poverty pattern. The poverty pattern is this. I don't have any money. I'm so poor I can't even pay attention. I'm broke. And no matter how much money you have, you are taught to say, I don't have enough money. Anyone here think you have plenty of money, you don't need any more money, you got a ton? Maybe one. Anyone's parents ever told them or told you, we've got so much money, we have money coming out our ears, we don't know what to do with it? Nobody. Because no matter how much money you have or don't have, you are taught one thing: it's not enough. You need more. Mom, can we have that candy? No, we don't have enough money. We don't have enough money. And so this poverty pattern pervades us, this scarcity of resources. And so you get tricked into thinking that really you are at the limit of your resources. And when really we know it's not about our resources. It's about our ability to tap into our resourcefulness. It's about our ability to find the funds. People who are trying to raise money, get resourceful. You may not have money in your bank. I'm not here to tell you to say that you have money in your bank when you don't. What I'm saying is, can you get resourceful? It's not about your resources. You are not the victim of your resources. You're the beneficiary of your untapped resourcefulness if you tap into that. Number two, big one. So by the way, on number one, change that focus on the fact that you don't have money for resourcefulness. Start to focus on ways that you can be resourceful, ways that you've been resourceful in the past. Number two, what I call the busyness pattern. Oh, I'm so busy. You hear this because people say, I just don't have any time. I'm too busy, morning to night. How many of you know somebody that is busy morning to night and just don't have time to call you back, don't have time to respond to an email, don't have time to go out? Just so busy all the time, oh my gosh. But busyness, we know, does not equal progress, does it? So we constantly are in this trap that we think if we're busy, we reward busyness. In this culture here, this sort of 9 to 5, because somehow magically you're going to get everything you need to get done in 9 to 5. We reward busyness. Sometimes if you get something done early, you feel guilty for not working harder throughout the day because you're trained to be busy. And so this trap about busyness, I don't have time. Well, here's the truth. The truth is, you have the time for anything you're absolutely committed to. How many of you know that? I mean, if you are 110% committed in your heart, will you find the time to do it, yes or no? Yes, you will find the time to do it. No, anyone have more time than you? Does Oprah Winfrey have any more time than you do? No. Now, she may be resourceful enough to get assistance and do things for her, but she has no more time. We all have the same amount of time. If you are 110% committed, you will find the time. So, why don't you trade in this rock of busyness for a commitment? And learn about where your commitments are. Start to focus on what your priorities are. What do you want for your outcomes? What areas of your life are you going to stay committed to? Number three, I love this one. I call it the blame pattern. It's not my fault. It's not my fault. You know whose fault it is? It's the president's fault. No, it's not the president's fault. It's the Congress. It's not the Congress' fault. It's gay people. No, it's not their fault. It's straight people. No, it's not. It's Republicans. No, it's definitely not Republicans. It's Democrats. It's Jews. It's Christians. It's Muslims. It's my weight. It's my genes. I can't run like you, Croy. I don't have the genetic makeup to be like you. No, it's my parents. My kids hold me back. It's my childhood. It's my wife. It's my husband. We blame everything and everybody. And what happens when you blame is you move into a space of what I call emotional impotence. Emotional impotence. Because what you do when you blame is you take whatever power you have to change a situation and you hand it to whatever it is you're blaming, and you step back and say, it's not my fault. It's that person's fault. And the more sophisticated of us will create an alter ego that will say, it's really not my fault. I'd like to do it, but there's this side of me that just won't get it done. We've almost created this alternate identity that we say, it's not my fault. I want to do it, but it's this person's fault right here. It's me. It's the other side of me. And if I could just get me to do it, then we'd all be good. But we don't. So we blame. We look forward to blame. I encourage you to trade in this big rock pattern of blame for something that I call leadership. Asking, what can I do now? Because if you go into the new year looking to blame, you will find a way. There's plenty of opportunities. But if you go into the new year or this new time of your life asking, what can I do now to make a change, then you've taken on a leadership mantle and it's completely different. You may not be able to affect the economy, but what can you do for you and your community? It's time we start asking a better question. Number 4, one of my favorites, the procrastination pattern. How many of you procrastinate? The rest of you will raise your hand tomorrow? Good. But procrastination is killing this country. Why? Because we'll get to it later. How many of you have things that you've wanted for a long time, and if we were to track back how long you've wanted those things, you've been procrastinating? If you're totally honest with yourself, how many have been procrastinating? We procrastinate, we delay over and over. If you hear anything from this few minutes, I want you to hear this word, now. Now has become a popular word. In fact, I want to change my last name to Now. Wesley Now. I want you to write it on your hand. I want you to put it on a Post-it, tack it up on your bathroom mirror, put it on your computer. Whatever you want in your life, go for it now. Stop delaying. It's funny, the more sophisticated of us, again, will find a better way because we don't like the word procrastination. We don't fancy that term. So what we do is we create something a little bit more soft, a little bit more clever, and we call it preparation. I'm preparing. And so I'm getting ready. Now, do I love preparation? Yes, I love to prepare, and that's all good. But if your preparation is really about procrastination, you need to trade off that procrastination, take on action. You need to adopt the mentality that you are a person of action. Not, oh, I need to go do that thing. Become a person of action. And the final one that I find that I've never heard anyone talk about, but I see it all the time whenever I go anywhere. And I call it the delusion pattern. The delusion pattern is this. I'm working on it. I'm working on it. I worked with a lady one time, she was about 74, and I asked her, what's your goal? And she said her goal was to lose about 30 pounds. I said, great, 30 pounds. How long have you been working on that for? We calculated it out, it had been about 45 years. She said, no, Wes, seriously, I'm working on it. Now, God bless her, maybe she's working on it, but at the rate that she's going, will she get it done in this lifetime? No. So what she has to do is to sort of not stop saying this, I'm working on it. So many people say, I'm working on it. It's the number one response I get when someone feels backed into a corner about why they're not getting results. The number one thing they'll say is, hey, I'm working on it. And what that does is it acts like an emotional credit card. An emotional credit card is this. You feel bad and you need to buy yourself some good feelings, but there's nothing good going on right now. So you swipe that emotional credit card and you say, I'm working on it, and suddenly you feel better. Okay, good. So where are we going to go get something to eat? I'm ready to go. And we're done. Because we've pacified ourselves by saying, I'm working on it. What you need to do is trade in that for an immediate response. What you need is actually a cloak of honesty. You need to be honest about where you're at. When you're totally honest about where you're at, you can call it like it is, and you can start to do something now. Because if you're not honest, you're going to continue saying, I'm working on it. Really, the way to do it is to measure the results. Get accountable to someone, measure the results. So we're talking about the human connection, the revolution that we want to see in the world. And if you really want a human connection, if we really want to elevate that level for us, I think it's going to start by reinventing what we drag into those relationships, what we drag into the new year. Because if we bring that scarcity into the new year, if we bring that procrastination and poverty and busyness and all the things we knew last year, then I suspect this year will be the same. But if we change it, if we focus on resourcefulness and commitment and leadership and taking action and being honest, then I think our whole dynamic can change. And our whole mission, we can affect our families, we can affect our communities, and dare I say, we can change the world. Thank you very much.